So do we have to do anything?
Excellent. Hello. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Hi. Sorry to interrupt. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming. Feel free to come closer if you like, or you can stay back there. It's all good. Hi, I'm Justin Waldman, he, him. I'm the artistic director here at Two River Theater. Thank you so much for coming to today's In the Know for American Mariachi with our amazing director, James Vásquez.
Hi.
Before we get started, I just want to thank all the people in the room that are making this happen. It's amazing. We're filming it. We got sound. We got beverage. We got amazing marketing. So thanks to all of our staff for making this possible. It's always fun. And we're great to be able to record this and put this out on our website afterwards. So if you really like it, you get to watch it again.
Which means I better behave, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Lock it up, James. You are such a disaster. As normal with these, I like to embarrass our guest first by telling him about all the amazing things that he has accomplished in his life. This is just a small smattering of the accomplishments of James Vásquez. I will admit at the very beginning that James and I go way back. We have now, I do believe, that I have produced more James Vásquez directed productions than anybody else in my career. That includes my two mentors, Nicky Martin and Barry Endelstein, which is wild to me, but also fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
James Vásquez, right here. He returns to Two River after directing last season's smash hit Hair, which opened our season. Thank you. James is a resident artist at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego, our old haunt and his home, where he has directed everything from Shakespeare to world premieres, to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, to The Grinch. So from, sweet transvestites to children's programming, James Vásquez does it all. His recent directing and choreography credits all over the country include the Marriott Theater in Chicago, the Goodspeed Musicals, the Dallas Theater Center, Cleveland Playhouse, as well as plays and musicals at the Denver Center, Children's Theater in Minneapolis, Moonlight Stage in San Diego Musical Theater, Diversionary Theater, Signet Theater, as well as developing new projects for the Old Globe, La Jolla Playhouse, and Goodspeed Musicals. He has received the Craig Knoll Award for Best Director twice, which is the San Diego Tony, for those that don't know. He, in his spare time when he's not all over the country directing. He's a gardener, he loves dogs, and he also graduated from a small university called the Juilliard School as an actor. James is the greatest bringer of joy you will ever meet. Wherever he goes, people smile and have a great time and just feel loved and safe. So it is such a pleasure to welcome James back to Two River. Everybody, James Vásquez.
Thank you. And that was a little embarrassing. So you did.
All right,
you did a good job.
I did my job.
Yeah.
There is a slight chance that this chair might break. So if I fall down, sorry. This is going to be embarrassing. All right, I'll try not to move. All right. So James, I always like to start out with these conversations about how did you get into theater? What is it that, when did the bug bite you, and why did this become the thing that you have devoted your life to?
Yeah, I grew up in an artist home. My dad is a poet. And when I was little, he became his ultimate career. He was a high school teacher. But when I was little, and I'm the oldest, he was very much a free spirit and poet. And so when I was 3, 4, 5, we used to have, my mom and dad would host artists in our apartment regularly. So there would be poetry readings, there would be little dance performances on our back patio that was maybe 10 by 8 feet. Painters would come and paint in our back patio. So it was always just in my life. My best friend, my childhood best friend, starting at the age of 5, was singing and dancing and doing commercials. And I always said, well, I'll do that too. And of course, he got all the leads in the school play, and in the Christmas pageant, he got the angel with the solo, and I got the third camel for the Three Kings. But it was a start. Oh, and it happened.
Yep.
There we go.
Lay off the burgers.
There we go.
All right. Sorry. Thank you.
I think I'm okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
for the moment.
All right. All right.
Although now he's much taller than you.
Well, you know, I'm
life-
taller than him anyway.
In life, yeah.
It's funny even out. We have a second.
I'm okay.
No, thank you so much. Sorry, chair. It's a nice chair. Sorry.
But you know, the arts were always a part of my life, which I'm very grateful for. And it broke my dad's heart when I was 12. I was a second baseman. I was an all-star second baseman when I was 11, 12. And then when I was 13, I discovered tap shoes. And that was the end of that. And I was doing theater. I was doing local theater. And I was very lucky. I went to the Old Globe summer camp when I was 12 years old. So the Globe, now being a resident artist, and now having directed 12 shows at the Old Globe, it feels a little like an odd dream that's come true. But it's fantastic, and I love what I get to do. I love it.
That's amazing. That's so great. I like the story of going to camp at the Globe and then being a resident art. Like that trajectory is outrageous and one of those things that you could be so proud of. It's fantastic.
I've been helping my dad clean out the house a little bit, and he uncovered a picture not too long ago of me. I got a scholarship to go to this summer camp, and it's my scholarship picture with my sponsor in front of the Old Globe, and I'm this tall, and so it's kind of cool to set them side by side now with that picture with my resident artist picture.
It's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
So, but you started out acting, and you went to Juilliard for acting. Like, how did directing come into your life?
Well, my mother. Here's a quick story. You know how schools have Spirit Week, and there's like Monday is 50s. Well, now it's 90s day. But there's always like flashback day and favorite sports team day, and one of the days when I was in first grade was Future Day, and you were to dress as what you wanted to be when you grew up. I barely remember this, but my mom has the pictures in the proof. I took my grandfather's robe, I got into my mom's sewing kit, and I cut out the letters Director and glued them to the back of my grandpa's robe. I threw a scarf around my neck, I took a beret from my dad and big sunglasses, and I went to school. So my mom will say that from the get-go, I knew exactly what I was going to do. But
I feel like you need to wear this robe
for opening night. I've got it planned. I think directing was something I always wanted to do. I would be, even as a teenager, I would be in rehearsals or techs for shows that I was in, and in the back of my brain I would think, oh, well, if they would turn the lights up now, we would focus the scene better, but I would never say anything. And actually, the Old Globe, when I was cast in the ensemble of their annual Christmas show, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the dance captain responsibility was restaging the musical numbers the next year. So I was going back year after year to do the musical numbers, and one year the director decided not to come back. And he decided not to come back 2 weeks before rehearsal started, which didn't give them much time to find somebody else. And they looked to me and said, "You think you can do it?" And I said, "Yeah." And suddenly, your name is in the newspaper and on the internet as directing at the Old Globe Theater, and people start calling. So it was, I feel very lucky. It was a path that was sort of laid out in front of me that I said yes to.
It's such an amazing thing that the first directing gig is a major, huge Broadway-sized musical. Like most people are like, I'm going to do a 3-character play in a basement. And James is like, no, I'm going to do a $2.5 million Broadway musical, and that's where I'm going to start. So like you've always been doing shows that big. Like musicals have been your bailiwick. What did that teach you as you jumped into the directing career?
I think one of the things as an actor, I just love it I've always loved it, and it was joyful, and it was freeing, and playful as an actor. So when I transitioned into directing, the attitude didn't change. And I remembered what it was like. I always try to remember what it was like as an actor in those moments. So I like to lead. I like to lead with my actor brain, and I like to make the experience. I hope to make the experience what it always was for me as an actor, which was playful, imaginative, collaborative. I love the collaborative process, so I hope that's what I carry forward.
Yeah, speaking of like spirit weeks and stuff like that, this is something that James institutes in all his rehearsals. Is he has spirit days where everybody dresses up and they have Catterday Saturday. Everyone wears cat ears for cats. Yeah. So it's like that spirit is like not only is it like through him as a human, but also like everybody buys into this, and it's so much fun because you walk into rehearsal hall and everybody's in tie-dye or wearing their favorite show T-shirt or something, and you're like, oh yeah, James is here.
Well, it's funny because they Catterday Saturday. I love Cats the musical. I'm not ashamed of it.
Kind of.
A little bit. But it actually was something that I just did as a silly joke one day. And I said, tomorrow's Catterday Saturday. Everybody wear your cat shirts. Draw whiskers on. And I didn't think anybody would do it. And people showed up in cat shirts and cat ears and whiskers, and we all laughed about it. And I said, okay, Catterday Saturday every Saturday now. And now, Catterday Saturdays are happening in rehearsals that I'm not even a part of because other people do it. But what's fun about it is you always get the first week or two, you get the cast members or the crew who are like, I'm not doing that. That's stupid, I'm not doing that. And then they walk in with whiskers painted on their face. And you're like, I got them.
That's great. So this is your return to River, but also it's kind of a first, because the last time you were here, you had to leave us before opening for a family emergency. So like, barring anything crazy happening between now and Friday.
We're so close.
We're so close. Like, what's it like being back in Red Bank? What like the experience for hair and coming back and doing a show again?
Yeah, first of all, Red Bank is gorgeous, and Red Bank, it's gorgeous, and we truly, first of all, I'm in an apartment that looks out to the river, so I wake up every morning and see the boats and the river, and it's gorgeous, and we just walk. We just get together at night and we walk through town and we get water ice and we get, so it feels like a lovely little safe haven that we've been welcomed into. I did not get to make it to opening night last year when I was here with Hair, which was really disappointing. And I'm so grateful that the Two River staff and team really sort of lifted the show up and got it to the finish line. I was nervous to come back, if I'm being honest, because I had that memory of how Hair ended for me. I had to leave very abruptly. I had to leave for a family emergency. I am in the same apartment that I was in. And so it was a little like, what am I doing? Why did I agree to this? This theater and this family at this theater welcomed me back so enthusiastically and so lovingly that any fear that I had about returning has gone. And returning to this show, I'm not jumping ahead, am I?
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. I premiered this show. I did the world premiere of American Mariachi. I was part of the development process back in 2016, 2017 with some workshops and readings, and then did the world premiere in 2018 at the Denver Center and the Old Globe. So to get the chance to not only come back to Red Bank and Two River, but to return to this beautiful show, which is very personal and deals with some things that are very personal to my life. This last month has been very healing. It's been very collaborative and beautiful. And I am so wildly proud of the work that we have all created in that theater, and so excited to be able to share it.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And like you transitioned the conversation perfectly into American Mariachi, which how many people have seen it yet? Okay, just Hannah. Awesome, fabulous. So can you tell us a little bit of what the show is about? Can you give us a synopsis of American Mariachi?
Yeah.
And then a little bit about what it means to you and what are the themes that it's trying to discuss and talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. It is, at the heart of it, it is really about finding your voice and stepping into who you are confidently. There's a phrase that we say a few times in the show, amor, familia y tradición, love, family, and tradition. And those are really the big themes of the show. It is about a young woman, a young Mexican woman, Lucha, who is 20, 21, and she has become the caretaker for her mother, who has early onset dementia and is fading pretty rapidly, but comes to life with the memory of one particular song. And Lucha and her cousin Boli decide maybe we can help bring her back. Maybe we can have more time with her. Music is memory, music is therapy. So they decide to learn this song, to play it for her mom, but it's a mariachi song. And so these two young women decide to form their own mariachi band in the early 1970s, when, for the most part, women weren't allowed to play mariachi. It was very much a tradition that was handed down from father to son, a men's genre. In the 50s and 60s, there were breakthrough female mariachi bands, but not really accepted. And over the course of the story, we see this beautiful group of oddball or outsider women find each other, come together, and create a band. And it celebrates love, it celebrates family, and it celebrates tradition while creating new tradition.
Yeah, it's so moving and so much fun, and the music is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing because it's not a musical, but it has so much music. There's music pervasive throughout, from the band that the women are forming to the band that's in the show.
Yeah.
Like you had mentioned earlier that you had directed the world premiere of it and done the workshops of the show. So like, what was that process like working with Jose Cruz Gonzalez, the playwright, to develop the play, and as a director on the world premiere, like, how much input do you have into the creation of the piece? Because as we've all heard, a lot of this has echoes your own family's history.
Yeah, Jose, who the playwright, who will be here tomorrow and Friday night. I'm very excited that he'll be able to join us. We were meant to meet, Jose and I. When we sat down to meet for the first time to see if I was the right director to come on board, there was just an instant connection of thought and heart. And he is generous and loving, and loves to tell stories of the underdog. I love to tell stories of the underdog. What was the question? I start going and
like in the creation process of the show.
What was really exciting was in the early workshops, there was one workshop reading that had happened before I came on, and when I came on board, Jose said, "What is it missing?" And I sort of went, You're really? So we have this beautiful relationship where we get on the phone and for hours we'll just throw ideas back and forth, and often from our own personal lives. So it was really exciting to start with a story that, quite honestly, had many different other characters in it, had many different other themes to it, and start to chip away at it and say, love this story idea, love this character, they're just getting in the way. And if we keep them in, we want to know more about them, but that's its own play. And what's really fun is, from takeaways that we threw away from American Mariachi, Jose and I developed another show called Under a Baseball Sky, and are in process of developing another show about a character that was struck from the original American Mariachi. So it is almost a trilogy in its own way. But it was, Jose is not a musical theater person. And again, with it not being a musical, but about music and surrounded by music, Jose really leaned on me to say, a little more here, not enough here, we need transition here, this is not the right song, we need more drive. And I loved that. I loved that he allowed me to participate that way.
So can we jump in and we talk a little bit about the music in the show?
Yeah.
Because this is one of the coolest things I think I've seen in a theater in a long time. Because there's a mariachi band in the show, which are professional mariachis. Like, these are people who are some of the best mariachis in the country. They work out of New York. They're in here. They're a band. They're amazing. And then you have the actresses in the show who are actresses who have to learn how to play all this music to be in the show. So, like, some of them have done the show before, so they've learned to play. Others, like, hey, you're going to be in it. Here's a trumpet, and here's a lesson, and we'll see you in September. You know, so, like, people learn to play these instruments. Yeah. And what's so, sorry to tell this story, but, like, what's so neat is you see the instruments pair up on breaks. Like, the trumpet player and the mariachi band and the woman playing the trumpet will go and do, like, a private lesson for each other in the corner while on a break. Like, what is it like building that camaraderie and that an atmosphere where that happens, and then how you integrate musicians who are truly just musicians that have never been in a play before, and they're on stage almost the entire time. Like, what is that integration like between the two?
It's really exciting and it's really beautiful. In the original production, we didn't know what was going to happen. We hadn't done it, and we weren't sure how the two worlds were going to blend, the mariachi world and the theater world. And the first couple days, the girls were really nervous, and the muchachos, the mariachis, were a little standoffish. And as the process went, and the mariachis started to see how theater worked, and our ladies started seeing how the mariachi world worked, they each started to have a little appreciation for the other. And then they sort of, as the women would get a little better, the mariachis would go, oh, and you'd see them start to help. And then you'd see the women start to help the guys with acting moments. And it was really exciting, again, to see this tradition that was created and built around men be broken in front of our eyes, and to see the room really become this collaborative process. And after the world premiere productions, it's had 14, 15 other productions after the world premiere that I have not been a part of, but it's been really lovely to hear that every production has the same experience, the two worlds blending together. And here, these mariachis are cracking me up, because now they're acting. And now they are finding
dangerous
bits. Right, and I'm like, oh boy. But it's a really, I love it. It's what I wish the world would be, and it's what I think art is. It's different forms, different traditions, different communities coming together and finding that universality. You know, that we're not that different, and through creation and through art, we sort of speak the same language, and that's been really beautiful. And it just makes it alive, you know, because it becomes more than a show for the cast. They really start to support each other and lift each other up and want each other to succeed, which just pushes the story forward.
Yeah, it's so much fun. You're just watching everybody. Oh, this is how you do. And then also you see the instruments are easy to see.
Yeah.
But it's also like, how do you do a quick change?
Yeah.
What's your entrance like? What's a cue light? What's a half-hour call? Like all the stuff that we take for granted as theater practitioners. This is all new to them, and it's like it's kids in candy store kind of thing. It's like, oh my God! Usually it's a gig. You show up and you leave, and they're here for a month and a half, working with everybody, creating long-term relationships, which is beautiful.
Our violin player, Emilio, says to me the other night, James, so theater. I was like, yeah. He goes, it's kind of cool. So I've been listening on loop to Alan Cumming in Cabaret. And I went, oh. He goes, yeah, and I hear Cabaret is now on Broadway. I said, well, it's a different production, not with Alan Cumming. And he went, I think I got to go see it, though. What other musicals should I go see? And I was like, we did it. We did it.
That's so good. So you it's been several years since you worked on the show. You did it on a whole nother coast. Like now you're here, and like we were talking about this a little bit ago. We have now reached the time in our lives where we are revisiting plays that we have done in our youth. It's what has that been like for you to come back to this play, like and see it again? You know, both as like how has the play evolved in its time? How have you evolved? How has your relationship to it evolved since you were last able to converse with it?
Yeah, you know, I'll be really honest and say I wasn't sure. I wanted to revisit the story again, and it is because of the safe space that Two River provides and Justin provides that I said, yeah, I'll go do it. There are some themes in it. There's some storylines to it that are that have become very personal to me over the last couple years. I wasn't sure I wanted to step back in. But 7 years later, with age and lots of experience underneath me, it's been, I don't even really know how to explain it. It's been healing, it's been beautiful. It feels like I'm getting to close a chapter on this that I never really sort of got to wrap up. And my priorities have shifted as I've gotten a little older and a little more experienced. And I think in the world premiere, what was a fun little story about music and this group being formed has become deeper. And it has become about legacy. It has become about tradition and chosen family. And so I think all those things that as we get older, we sort of understand a little more and build. And I have loved being able to share that and dig into the story in that way. It's also, there are a few people who were in the original production. Not a lot, three of them, two of them are in the same roles, one of them is actually in a different role for this production. So the rest of the production is entirely new. I didn't even look at the other production when prepping this one. So that's been fun, to have a little bit of the original heart to it, and also let the neighborhood grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We had a question come in through our Instagram account, because that is a thing now. I don't know. This gets sent to me, and I'm like, cool. That's great. But I think it's a great question, and I think it also sparks a great conversation, too. So the question was, gorgeous set. Curious about the conception of the rotating stage element. So on our stage, we have a revolve that spins around, which you'll see when it's really, really cool. But I thought this was a great way to kind of launch into a conversation not only about the revolve, but also the incredible, like culturally specific details that you and your amazing design team, speaking of which, Christopher Vergara, our costume designer, shout out right there.
Hello.
Over there. He's amazing and has done incredible, incredible work. But like, there is so much stuff that is through in. Forgive my pronunciation if I'm getting it right, like the nichos of the set and the trajes of the uniforms that the mariachis wear. Like, how did you and your design team like come together to take us to all these various locales that the show goes, but also pay such attention to the culturally specific details that really steep us in the tradition of mariachi and the time frame of the 70s?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this design team is unreal, and this design team are all people from the Latine community. And I think it's the easy answer is so rarely do we get opportunity to tell really authentic stories about our communities, our lives, our families, that when we do, there's so much to pull from. There's so much childhood memory. There's so much history. There's history from my parents that I bring with me. I know Christopher has pulled from your own family experience when designing the costume world for this show. And when talking to our scenic designer, Diggle, how good of a name is that, right? Diggle. He is Mexican born as well, and we really wanted to celebrate our childhood. And one of the things that was big in both our childhoods were our nichos, which are these little memory boxes that open up. They're often made of tin, or they're little wood boxes, and they've got figurines inside of skeletons, Dia de los Muertos figurines, skeletons. Sometimes they're wedding pictures, sometimes they're people getting bigger, growing up through life. And these nichos often celebrate love, family, and tradition. And so when we started talking about the set, I said, jokingly, I said, my dream is that we have a giant nicho on stage with these windows where memories can come to life. And Diggle said, okay, let's do that. And we did. And it's stunning. This play, Jose writes very cinematically. Though he doesn't write for film, he writes for theater. It's very cinematic. So you end one moment and lights out, lights up, you've got those same people in a new situation in an entirely different world. I like to think cinematically in my staging. So in order to transition us from world to world, we have this lovely turntable that rotates and will be a home on one side, and the actors will move and do a little journey down to the bottom of the stage, and by the time they've turned around, we're in a salon. And then at the end of the salon scene, they go and they grab their jackets, they're putting on their jackets, they revolve around, and we're in a service garage. So it offers us the opportunity to travel through space and time without, cinematically, almost. And it's super cool. One of my favorite things when I was a kid growing up, seeing theater, was turntables and automated things that moved in and out. And as an actor, my first big job, I was lucky enough to do Shakespeare in the Park in Central Park. and we had set pieces that moved in and out. I was like, this is amazing, this is amazing. And one day, the stage manager took me downstairs, and it was all ropes. It was all crew pulling these big ropes underneath the stage. And I thought, really, that's what it was this whole time? Technology has improved.
We actually have like hamsters now,
yes,
and
now
they
it's
run
running
on these wheels
and
spin it.
But the 12-year-old in me is always going to be there. So when shows of mine have set pieces that move in and out magically, or turntables that move, I'm always like, look and see what it does. Watch this, watch this. Super cool.
It's so cool. And when you get to see it, it's, the set is 3 stories high with these revolves. Like the production team here at Two River has outdone themselves making this thing work.
Yeah.
And like the thing to remember is it's not only what you see in front of it, it's all the stuff behind it, because people have to get up and down, escape stairs, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And as you see this revolve happen, like there's something that you see a scene, and then it turns and there's something new, and then it turns again, there's something new, and it turns again, there's something new. It's not like a 20-sided die, it's a 2-sided panel, and there's a whole crew behind it shifting everything that's on that revolve, so it changes again. So it's one of those like magic things of series, like the ropes underneath.
Yeah.
There are, a half dozen people backstage that are silently working like little elves, making sure that the next scene is ready, so that when it turns again, there is a whole new place for people to inhabit, and that cinematic quality of never stopping is affected, and you don't know the difference, and your suspension of disbelief just keeps moving.
But you say 6 people backstage making that happen. That's just scenically. Then the costume world, the journeys that they take, and the different looks that they go through. There's a whole nother crew of 5 or 6 backstage that are helping them switch to different looks. We have, and very quickly. That's the other thing, is that the looks aren't simple. The end of the show, the entire company, not giving anything away, the entire company comes out in mariachi trajes, which are their suits. Beautifully intricate and detailed and specific and not easy to get into. And they've got, what would you say, 90 seconds, Christopher? Yeah, it's with bows and hair swaps and shoes and instruments. So it is, the actors on stage are the ones who, rightly so, get applause for telling the story, but there is a whole world of support backstage that we would not be able to do it without.
And this is a great testament to that. This is a show where you wouldn't notice, you don't see it, but like there is so much happening.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I always say, I mean, we should take these cameras and set them up backstage and just film the backstage show, because it is insane and incredible what this team of artists are doing backstage to make it look easy on stage. I had a guest at our matinee today who was like, it was so smooth, it just looks so easy and breezy, and I was like, farthest thing from. But that's the goal, right? All that work backstage is to make the experience look easy and breezy and smooth.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's open it up to some questions from y'all. We have a couple of minutes left. Yes. Yeah.
2 questions. You can choose to answer neither or either one. Since the world premiere, you say there have been like another 15 productions. It's obvious your depth of love and involvement and what this show means to you. So the first question is, have you seen any of those others? And if you do you sit in the audience, have little tics to the side, that shouldn't happen there, or they should do this, or do you just lose yourself anew?
Sorry, I'll just repeat the question so we make sure we have it. So the question is about the other productions of the show. Have you seen any, and what have your reactions to them been?
I have not seen any, and that not for not wanting to. I would love to see another production. They have happened at times that I was busy on another project, or just in places that I wasn't able to get to. But I think one of the biggest gifts in helping develop this and getting to do the world premiere, and then it having such a beautiful life that it has, it makes me emotional because this play and story feel like such a gift to the world, and to have had a part in that, and that people are now taking it and running with it and making it their own, feels really exciting, and not scary, not oh, you're doing that wrong, but different interpretations and different point of views and different hearts telling this story. And I love that I was a part of the team that got to launch that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sure.
From what you describe, and I've not seen the set yet, it's amazing, and it's big, and it's probably incredibly colorful, and lots of things are going on. You've also explained a very tender, beautiful story of love and family and tradition.
Yeah.
Have you ever run in this production or others to the large circusness sort of the set, taking away or balancing this quiet, beautiful story because things are turning and whizzing and buzzing and music is playing?
That's a great question. Did you want to repeat?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry. No, it was just going to let you jump. The question is about like the intimate nature of the storytelling and the large format of the way the play is staged. Or do those things run in opposition to each other, or they talk to each other in concert?
I think they really support each other. I think because there is so much with the tenderness, there is also so much celebration surrounding the story and the lives of the people in the story, that Jose has written a really beautiful story that lets it sit and focus in, and it's from those tender moments that the big memories or the big moments sort of explode from the tenderness, and then also sort of fade away back into the intimacy. So there's really, I think, a beautiful ebb and flow that don't conflict with each other. And I think, again, with the beautiful help of my design team, the lighting, Rui Rita, who is our lighting designer, when it needs to be big and explosive, that whole nicho comes to life. When it needs to be a small, quiet moment, he takes us in there. And that's also something that I try to be very aware of. What is the stage picture and where is the focus? And even in the big, grand moments of it, where are we supposed to be looking within the grandness?
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
I'd love to know more about your process working with designers. You said about collaborating with the cast. You mentioned a little bit with this great team for this show. But speaking more broadly, what your approach is to determining the vision for production, whether it be a show that's been put on hundreds of times before that people know really well, compared to, say, a new show that no one has seen. You have to craft like your own vision starting from scratch. Yeah.
How do you? So that's a great question, and we can have confirmation from Christopher later if what James says is true or not. So there you go. What's it like collaborating with designers? Like, how do you approach a piece as a team and use these amazing minds and talents that you're working with to create something that is cohesive for everything that you're working on?
I mean, first of all, I can't do it without them. And I also come in with very strong ideas. I see it in my brain. I see the story and the vision and the way I'd like to tell the story. I share that with designers when we first meet, and I also know that that's not my field of expertise, and so I want their input. I want their input on it. I want their research, and I always like to think that the best answer in the room that's going to support and uplift the story is going to win. I think some of the fun part of it, and Christopher can attest to this, some of the fun part of it is the disagreement that sometimes happens. And I don't think it ever gets to, oh my God, no, never again, we're never working together again, but passionate discussion about, I think we need to lean more this way, I think we'd, and sometimes designers will really fight for what they believe in, and when I step back and look at it, I go, yeah, that makes sense. And other times, I will really fight for what I believe in, and we find that middle ground. I also think sometimes that changes as you're putting the story together, because the big ingredient in it are the actors and the energy that they bring, and how they develop over the course of the storytelling, and the way we may think of a character or a moment early on when we first start talking about it may shift with the way the story is ultimately being told, or what the actor is bringing into the room. Yeah, I mean, I like to think I can do it all on my own. I never want to, because they've got better ideas. And it's fun. It's fun. I mean, and Christopher and I have had discussion over a couple costumes and characters in the show, and found beautiful middle ground in it, and that fit within his original design, my original intent, and that support our story. And that's the exciting part of it, is that collaboration part.
Excellent. Yes, I think we have time for one last question. So,
Are we seeing a play that premiered, or has it changed?
Sorry, just real quick.
Yep.
Is the script the same as the last time you worked on, or are there been changes since?
It has changed a little bit. There over the course of its life, there have been some rewrites to it. There's been some music added. One of the and in one instance, the story became a little heavy in one part of the journey. And I said to Jose, I love this. I love where you've headed with this. However, I do think it's taking the focus away from this intention. And we sat back down with the play, Jose and I, and in a couple instances, we went back to the original script. And then in a couple instances, he rewrote to support the story even more. But I would say it's about 90% the original script that I worked on and helped develop. And there's been some music added. There's one character that has been fleshed out and gotten a little more of a beautiful journey. And that's been exciting too, to help me with coming back with fresh eyes, is some of those new intentions. So yeah, it's shifted a little bit, but at the heart of it, it's the same. At the heart of it, it is, again, about love, family, and tradition.
Yeah, you would need like a forensic accounting to figure out where the lines are different.
Truly.
You know, other than this one character that was a shift. It was originally a character that was doubled with another character, like one of the women played this other character as well, and then they found that by breaking that doubling apart, it made a clearer delineation of the arc of the other character, which is lovely and great, but also after we budgeted the show. So it was one of those like, oh great, we got an extra actor, cool, fabulous. But it really is worthwhile because it's beautiful. So those are the kind of things that happen. Like you play with it some more, and something that was done maybe for like a budgetary reason, or like there was a specific actress that could do this specific thing better than anybody else. And then when you find in subsequent ways, like that doesn't quite work anymore. So that's kind of the great thing when you see something happen again. Yeah. What can, especially something new with the playwright still alive, coming to the openings, it's fantastic because he's like, I got all these ideas. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Slow your roll. But if it's a good idea, we'll do it. With that, I think we need to wrap up so people that are going to show can grab a drink or go to the bathroom before we go. I want to thank James Vásquez for his time and his energy and his grace. I want to thank all of you for coming out here on this wonderful night, for enjoying this great talk with James. I hope you get to see the show. We open officially on Friday. We run through October 20th. There also, if you check our website, there are some fantastic events coming up around the show. On October 13th in this room, we're going to have a local Latinx music night in here. Some bands from around this area, from around Asbury Park, all Latinx bands that are going to be playing, so it'll be a nice concert. And then also on the 18th, we have a Latinx drag night in here. So music, fun, all this kind of stuff that talking about jumping off from the joy that this show brings. So thank you for that. Our rest of our season continues in January. So please check out our website. Come on back. We'd love to see you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Splitting? Sorry, I broke a chair.
I know, geez.
Sorry, chair.
Can't take Justin.